When a massive star gives all of its fuel to surviving and runs dry, it will collapse in upon itself, and a black hole will form. The collapse will cause an exploding star or a supernova, and parts of that star will be blasted into space. However, the gravity of a black hole is so strong, they say nothing, not even light can escape it. Before I knew who she was, the city told me stories of my mother, of her days on stages like this one, how the hood lined up to see her perform, say she was destined to be a star. And those stories always end with, and then something went wrong, and then she went dark. Say she had her first child in the middle of her first breakdown and hasn't stopped having either since. They recite life didn't deal her cards fairly, like an epitaph across her body. My mother is a black hole now. Inside a black hole, time is measured in the distance that an object travels from the center. So when you're looking at something from inside it, you don't know if you're looking at the future or the past. Like 23 years ago when my little sister was a fetus, my birth mother, a not-so-recovering crack addict with the help of her boyfriend, robbed a gas station at gunpoint, then fled. Last week, my little sister, 23 now, received a call from police. My birth mother was arrested, high, for the 23-year-old robbery, and it's hard to know if we're looking at the future or the past or if the light traveled at all. I fear the day I will stray too far from where I was born, and just when I think myself to be a supernova, her gravity will render me missing, come back to find me, shove me into the dark of her inescapable body. She will call her gravity love. I will fill it a casket. I will have to remember that this is how black holes love, and I swear I know she loves us. My second oldest sister knew it too. She ran away from home immediately after the first call we ever got from our birth mother, and she went to visit. I wonder what she learned on that visit. Must be the way they have the same laugh, or choice in men, or that they're always running from what will catch up to them. It caught up. My sister died in the hands of her not-so-recovered boyfriend. She was high and pregnant. My sister is a black hole now, or stuck in one. Either way, ain't no light coming from her no more. And perhaps this is the reason why my birth mother is leaving the two newest children in the custody of the two oldest surviving ones. It's because she knows astrophysics in a way college could never teach her, and knows when she loves something, the only way she can love something, she is liable to crush it, even if all she wants to do is mother it. So it's not that I'm not thankful to be a light and alive when everyone said I wouldn't be. It's just that you know what they say. The light don't fall too far from the black hole, and neither of us have ever traveled far enough to know if that's true or not. I swear most days my head be in the stars. Even when my body won't get out of bed, I think my body's so afraid it's gonna inherit her epitaph. It won't even try. You can't call what ain't try to fail you. Can't pronounce what ain't lived dead. And this here future is rooted so far back that our past is holding hands with our future. And ain't this the space-time continuum? The way time changes inside a black hole. If I'm cursed with a series of laps that'll end in the darkness I was birthed in, can I just take my time? Can you not rush me with I love you's birth, mom? Today the sun is shining. Even if you can't reach it right now or anymore, even if it won't let you love it back, and ain't the sun the greatest thing you ever gave this galaxy? Ain't that enough to let it live, to let it go?
For the boys told they were too dark to be the Dark Knight, too colored to be the Cape Crusader. Don't worry, there is a hero here to avenge you.
And then the Black Panther said, Batman.
Oh, so you calling yourself the Dark Knight?
Really, nigga?
Did Hillary teach you how to nay-nay?
Let me guess. You got hot sauce in your utility belt. You wanna be me so bad.
You're what I'd be if I had no power.
And they praise you for your non-miraculous mediocrity.
You let the world know anyone can be a hero.
As long as you're born rich,
it seems privilege is the only thing super about you. Your writers reward your underachievement,
while we must be twice as good
for half the panel. So, not only will I beat you in chess,
despite you going first every time,
my soul be bonded
with the Panther God, the ethereal fist raised above heaven.
A Batmobile. I got a black man-o-mobile on suicide doors and a kill switch.
Cat Becky keeps Catwoman, it keeps burglarizing you, while me and my queen take this world by
storm. Fuck a benign butler.
Get him.
I got a big mama blessed and been there, done that in Bible.
They say I just might be a black Bruce Wayne in the making.
That I am T'Challa.
Put some respect on my name.
Bask in the benevolence of black bastardry.
Can't copy the King Kunta charisma.
Cam Newton meets Huey P. Newton in brains and brawn.
This Jesus on the cross meets Jesus on the Ankh. I'd be the full spectrum of black.
From Wakanda
to Zamunda,
light skin
to dark skin,
sweet
to salty grits,
the old Running Man,
to clapping nights, typing clap of you. The marginalized masses merge till we mirror Mansa Musa. Have you ever seen a black man's outfits protect him from bullets? I've got black boys everywhere trading in their gold chains
for vibranium,
a metal made of every
sound. It absorbs. My people stay draped up
and dripped out in their own invincible voices. The Black Panther Party
came after the Black Panther comic.
Imagine what will happen when we soul train to the silver screen. We will know Superman is as irrelevant as phone booths.
That's the batarang. It's just a wannabe Afro pick. That MLK's secret identity
is Malcolm X.
Surprise, motherfucker. Look at me. I am the captain now. The real Dark Knight. Black Emperor. King of Kings. Networked in the trillions. Don't make me buy Wayne Enterprises.
Don't make me buy Gotham City.
Don't make me buy DC Comics Batman. You just might be my sidekick in the making. Marvel.
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 Marvel. Marvel. At this melanin.
Trying to mate. He climbs onto the web of a female and dances with all 8 of his legs. If she accepts the invitation, he inseminates her. In many cases, when it's all over, the male spider will hoist himself into the fangs of a female. He accepts paralysis like a gift and willingly becomes something she can eat during the pregnancy. When a male and female termite decide to reproduce, they take what is called a mating flight. They join together, leave their colonies, and procreate in midair. After fertilization, they land and break their own wings, making it impossible to ever fly with anyone else again. Insects are finding eternal love, to the point of pain or even death. But what's crazy is, you can't even text me back. Nothing. You just post their Facebook status. Tweeted about how your phone's dry.
Nobody hit you up.
What do you mean? I just called you. Let me guess. Your battery died.
You fell asleep.
You dropped your phone in the toilet.
Maybe got hit by a car.
Your phone was crushed by rush hour traffic. You took an unexpected trip out of the country and forgot to switch service
I know what
plans.
it is. You were kidnapped by a group of evil ninjas.
Held for hostage and put up for auction like Olivia Pope. Sold to a group of civilized gorillas and now they're raising you as one of their own. Let me know.
Because I can't think of too many other reasons why you can't respond.
I'm searching for affection, but you treat me like I'm not worth your data. In this society, we manipulate gadgets into handheld heartbeats and have become emotionally dependent on technology. We gauge our importance based off the amount of notifications on our home screen. There is only enough room in cyberspace for our insecurities.
We find love in the corners of QWERTY keyboards.
Search for acceptance in direct messages. And sadly mistake 5 bars of 4G signal for true connection. What is love if you cannot manually adjust its screen brightness? What is joy if it does not respond within a minute? What is validation if it cannot fit in your hand or be refreshed with a swipe of a finger? If we put as much effort into checking in with ourselves like we do our notifications, maybe we can find the truth of our lives.
A text back won't translate into self-worth.
A double tap on a picture doesn't mean anything if you don't like what you see.
A FaceTime call won't make it easier for you to face yourself.
Don't be afraid to lose signal. Don't be afraid of an empty lock screen.
Don't be afraid of yourself.
Turn off your notifications, put your phone on silent, turn off the Wi-Fi, and establish a new connection. You are all you have ever needed. Can you hear it now? Can you feel it now? Good.
Let me see your phone. Who is concrete_rose with 2 E's comment on your Instagram picture from 30 weeks ago? Talking about something, hit my phone, I just got a new number. Who is she? And don't tell me you don't follow her because you got #teamfollow back in your bio. I know your ass is cheating, her ass knew she was scheming. I be finding all your little side jokes. Tasha the poet, __ don't drink, la putting me first, walking, niggas with the niggas with a Z, and it goes that change her Instagram name every 3 days. I ain't stupid.
moving mighty fast to remove that notification. Always trying to pause me on FaceTime. Acting like you don't answer your phone with your battery dead, but you got a portable charger. Still trying to figure out what that for you. And you left your email up on your mother's laptop. Now all I gotta do is click forgot password. I ain't tripping off the retweets, the real dirt in them favorites. Talking about you got a best friend that I never met. I hope he catfish your pescatarian ass. Why you playing games?
Trying to flip this shit on me like you don't got girls trying to invite you to parties on your 360, yeah. I picked up your little game of FIFA and some gorgeous girl game of 277 trying to play you.
Why you trying to play me? I know your ass cheating. Let me see your phone. We can go to my man's house right now. And if your phone connected to his Wi-Fi, I'm gonna smack.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'm gonna smack the nutrition out your app. Let me see. All of a sudden you got an alphanumeric, national treasure, Rubik's Cube password. Let me see your phone. Settings, privacy, system services, location services, frequent location. 911 Unfaithful Boulevard. Who you mean there? Whoever he is, the other. Ain't spending your whole summer job checking Forever 21 and you're not even 18 yet.
Who you trying to impress? I bet you trying to impress that girl. A smiling in your face while I'm saying this goddamn phone knowing good and well she will go home, get on Facebook, and put your name on the 2014 B&B Crush page.
No, cause you trying to impress that dude. That dude talking about that he man that trick telling jokes to my girl trying to stand up with him and the man like, Jigga, that's my man. That nigga see me in the hallway talking about, I can't stand that nigga.
You know, after 4 weeks of making you my man crush Monday, you was my everything.
28 days in my Instagram bio, you were my everything.
You wanna see my phone? Here, check it. Who is Benita Applebum? You better not be putting her on thing.
Now it's Tyrone. You better not have brought his ass home.
You know, I'm tired of being lied to and cheated on. You buried the bones of our relationship before they could even stand.
I used to think we were invincible.
It turns out assumptions are icebergs that can Titanic the tightest of connections. Faith isn't what ties you down.
It's what makes you fly.
Faith is leaving your phone face up on the table when you walk away.
Faith is leaving your phone with me when you go into the bathroom.
Faith is not having to see my phone at all. You want to see my phone?
No. You don't need my password to unlock my trust.
Yeah! When Governor Snyder made the decision to switch Flint, Michigan's water systems from Lake Huron to the Flint River, he never bothered using corrosion controls, causing lead in old pipes to leach into the water. This was back in 2014. Today, faucets in Flint still spew segregation. The color tone remains dark brown, heavy with history of how colored people have been treated in this country. So when Governor Snyder made the decision to switch water systems, he was the first to see lead levels rise, the first to see how heavy the situation was, the first to keep quiet about it. Still, the last to make a change. I wonder, did he ever care about schools not letting students drink out of water fountains? Did he care that most of these schools were made up of African American students? Or maybe he knew how high blood lead levels can affect a child's developing IQ, lead to attention deficit disorder. Maybe this was his way of stripping the children's attention away from the water crisis. And children of the sun, do you think America ever noticed about the undocumented Latino community Governor Snyder left out in the silence? Most of them, unaware, couldn't figure out why the drops leaking from their faucets reminded them of rivers they had to cross to get here. So brown, so heavy, both drenched with an unwelcoming stench for those who dare to speak in broken English. Maybe this was Governor Snyder's way of welcoming them by giving them water with a shade of brown that they are used to. The shade of brown that settles heavy in their stomachs. The shade of brown many drown in trying to cross the Rio Grande, but this isn't new, y'all. Just 3 hours east from my hometown in Houston, Texas, low-income Latino communities are trying to survive, trying to breathe in areas where dusk and dawn are painted by dust clouds from scrap metal plants. Still, African-American neighborhoods across the nation have the highest percentage of lowest air quality, trying to live a life, holding their breath at the end of their throats in the slowest chokehold America can get away with without the threat of indictment. Do you see the pattern? Still, back in Flint, Michigan,
1,000 undocumented immigrants can't access clean water from fire stations. They can't access it without proper identification. They're too scared to be deported back to Mexico. I wonder, did Governor Snyder watch one too many Saw movies, decided to hand tie them, and see them choose between streets with high levels of toxins and streets with high levels of cartel activity, both resulting in being filled up with lead? Do you see the pattern? So when Governor Snyder made the decision to switch water systems, he was the first to see lead levels rise, the first to see how heavy the situation was, the first to keep quiet about it, and still the last to make a change, hoping his problems just sink away.
Growing up, my favorite movie was The Sandlot.
Coming of age tale.
About a young boy
moving to a new neighborhood,
meeting new kids,
getting used to a new father,
all at the same time.
He eventually meets a group of 8 other boys at a local baseball field.
And a summer of shenanigans unfold.
But through it all,
they become brothers.
Every time I watch this movie, I'm reminded of the brotherly bonds I created throughout my life. In high school, there was Forrest, Yao, and JJ.
There was Waldo, TJ, and Rich.
Together we assembled like Voltron.
Joined the track team.
Formed a rap group.
Piled into a Chevy Lumina every day after practice.
Nearly torched our scalps trying to texturize our hair.
We did everything together.
Went everywhere together.
We fought each other.
We fought for each other.
I trusted them more than I trusted myself.
These days, I started to notice the brotherly bonds we just described come few and far in between.
Being a man is a lot like being a part of an underground fight club. Rule number 1 is that you don't talk about it.
Rule number 2 is you only break down in places where people can't see you.
Because the law of masculinity says, don't crumble, don't crack, don't shudder, don't shake, don't whimper. You're not soft, you're not gentle, you're not fragile, you're a man. These are the pills we force ourselves to swallow.
These are the muzzles we place over the mouth of our inner child.
2 men can have a conversation for hours and say absolutely nothing.
2 men can know each other for years and know absolutely nothing about each other. It's fascinating how we can speak and still be completely silent.
Our friendships are just puddles of water that we splash in when it's raining.
We avoid affection the same way we avoid STDs and only make eye contact when we talk about sports.
We can't even be in the same place without our egos barking at each other from across the room.
We can't even give each other compliments without homophobia rearing its disfigured face. Hey bruh, nice pants. Pause, no homo.
Hey bruh, you got a nice smile. Pause, no homo.
Hey bruh, I never knew my own father. You're the closest man in my life who's ever cared about me. Pause, no homo.
Well, I say fuck that. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that, only rewind. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that, only rewind. My brothers, I love you. I never pause that. I'll never pause that. I'll never pause that when I call you brother. It means you can borrow my knuckles. It means you have at least 4 fists when depression is a fight you can't talk yourself out of. It means I will turn into a life jacket if you ever forget how to swim in society's expectations. But it also means you can cry on my shoulders. It means you can trust me with your secrets. It means we can disregard all the stupid shit we've been taught about masculinity and stop pretending like we don't have emotions. It means f it.
Let this be our sandlot.
A baseball field in the middle of nowhere.
A place where we can be ourselves. And if you don't know how to catch, just stay in center field.
With your glove as close to heaven as possible.
I'll take care of the rest.
Teachers used to say, your behavior is just like your last name, unforgettable. In school, I learned a lot more about other people's names rather than the ones closer to my own, as if Madame
Yamazawa,
Acevedo were so much harder to say than Tchaikovsky, Michelangelo, Eisenhower, like our last names were made of barbed wire, stripping the flesh of those trying to conquer the meanings in their mouths.
See, my parents named me George, but honestly, I always hated the name George. It reminds me of some old, dead white guy. Being a young, alive Asian boy, it was hard for me to make the connection. I realized my first name didn't match my background before I knew how to spell assimilation.
I always wanted a name that set the bar high, that tumbled out of mouths, somersaulted into a room and split the air. A name like Xochi or Anacaona, but although I must have punched inside the placenta, my parents decided on something placid. Elizabeth. A name for princesses, pampered women, and perfume. A name full of grace.
A name easily washed down with milk.
Patrick, meaning leader. Etymology, Irish. And although I speak French, I am from Cameroon. Bamileke et Douala, un lion indomptable. I would rather a name that would make a throat swell into a song rather than a sigh.
Your name is a song.
So now I call myself Pages so I can write my own story. It is the only name that I have ever owned.
And I wanted a name of Dominican Hills Rising and Campesinos Uprising instead of Long Live the Queen, but shortened my name to Liz so colonizers had less to hold on to.
You see, in Japan, Japan, your last name comes first. There's an emphasis on family. But in America, your nickname comes first because there's an emphasis on accessibility. Our parents had to dumb down our identity so our family could fit into a straitjacket society. You know, on countless occasions, I've introduced myself, and people would say shit like,
"But what's your real name, though? That don't sound very ethnic."
"You don't look like a George."
Or a Patrick.
And Elizabeth.
That's because my name wasn't given to me. It was given to the rest of the country. Because when they hear names like George, Patrick, Elizabeth, what they hear is
power, class, intellect.
But names like Pedemonte, Quavandrone, Tatsunokochi sound like foreign, impoverished, illegal. What they hear is go back where you came from.
Your name is a dirt pit. It is a black hole. But what they don't know is that black holes be the brightest source of light.
I've always wished my name was dressed in chainmail, that it was a heavy name of thick dyed syllables, strapped down with short blades. So when I have my own children, I'ma name them something special.
Something to make people stumble on and guilt trip over.
Something to make their skin a little thicker than mine.
Something to remind their classmates of the last samurai instead of the first president. Something powerful, something real ethnic, something unforgettable.
I am Brown Girl, daughter of border hoppers. Mommy cleans houses too fancy for us to live in. Daddy parks cars too nice to ever dream of. I am one of 3 sisters. Men yell welfare at mommy when they see us. I am Latina. I like reading. I like writing. This is funny to other Latinos because time is meant for more important things like cooking or cleaning or helping mommy because she works hard for us. I am Jessica. This name, borrowed, it used to belong to a rich girl my mother once worked for. I am a dreamer, not so good at doing. What I am good at is translating things from my parents like letters, school notes, landlord phone calls, work instructions, traffic directions, prescriptions. I think in English, but my tongue is dressed in Spanish. I am always missing a word for something in either language. I've been called many things. Wetback, spick, beaner, sometimes even illegal. I became a statistic when I dropped out of high school, but I am still a writer. I learned to do this all on my own. Nose pressed into Sandra Cisneros, Isabel Allende, Julia Alvarez, all brown girls, all born into Spanish and then translated just like me. Daughter of 2 people who knew exactly what they needed and transplanted themselves just to get it. I am still a dreamer and am slowly growing into a doer. And my skin color, well, my skin color only makes it that much more beautiful.
Nine things I would like to tell to every teenage girl. 1, the world is trying to kill you. It is trying to do this by stealing your voice. Kill it back. 2, you are the best thing in every room. You will notice I did not say the prettiest. You are also the prettiest thing in every room, but that doesn't matter. That is the world trying to kill you. 3, you will never completely kill the idea that your body is the most important thing about you. That is everywhere. And if you're alive and hearing me say these words right now, then you've already heard it too many times. That said, 4, the best hairstyle is one that helps you get out of bed in the morning. The best brand of makeup is one that sharpens a knife for you. The best brand of denim is one that fits and goes with your combat boots. Note that high heels make perfectly acceptable combat boots. Converse make excellent combat boots. And yes, combat boots are superlative combat boots. 5, wear whatever you want. Look however you want. You know who can f themselves if they don't like it? Everyone! 6, you remember that metaphor about killing you being stealing your voice? Sometimes the world will actually try to kill you. You'll never deserve it. Telling you to be ready is pointless. Telling you to prepare yourself is just another way to blame you when it happens, which is why 7, you need to hold up your sisters. 8, everyone is your sister. The girl with the jacked up teeth and the thrift store jeans is your sister. The girl who those girls is your sister. The girl who used to be called Jake but is now called Jane is your sister. The cheerleaders who are trying so hard to kill you are still your sisters. The world is trying to kill each and every one of you. And if you do not hold each other up, no one else will. 9. Someday, someone is gonna call you a woman. It's gonna be the most terrifying thing to think about yourself. But recognize it for the medal of honor that it is. It means that you have survived. That everything that has tried to kill you has failed. I'm so sorry. I should have called you all women at the beginning of this poem.
Perhaps I should start this poem by informing you that I am bilingual. That the Queen's English that I speak so eloquently before you now is not my first language, no. My grandmother never used such diction when she spoke me up in the welfare line amongst the other dwellers. Or when she called down to me from the project window for dinner, no, we spoke a more southern fried English. This rhetorical recipe has been in my family for generations, Grandma said. Big Mama hid it under her tongue because she had it for northern cities during a great migration. Scholars call it African-American vernacular English, but my guys, they call it slang. The man calls it Ebonics. I call it America's Creole. The last remaining squad birthed from a European and African pidgin turned into the dialect of the doughboys, the bass that appears in a rapper's rhythmic rhetoric spoken everywhere from the trap house to the liquor store, from the HIV testing clinic to the bus stop. Ebonics is the official language of the undefined black culture, the native tongue to the underrepresented black American. And long before I received liberal art degrees and stood unappointed in academic settings, I was born on the south side of Chicago and managed to garner up enough street cred from the School of Hard Knocks to qualify me to teach you all a few of my language's essentials. So hipsters, I hope you have your notepads ready. This is Ebonics 101. Chapter 1. Any English word that holds an I-N combination where the I becomes an A. Like Billie Holiday couldn't sing, that girl could sing. If Martin did all that walking, I wonder if him feet stank, traveled all them miles just to hear freedom rang. I wonder what he was thinking. Chapter 2. Any English word that holds an O-R combination, the R sound becomes silent. Like Emmett screaming, don't beat me no more. Like Rodney screaming, don't beat me no more. Like Trayvon asking, what is you following me for? Chapter 3. Any English word that holds an ER combination where the ER becomes an A. Like in the great quote from the linguistic scholar, Miss Lauryn Hill. And even after all my logic and my theory, I add a motherfucker so you ignorant niggas hear me. See, there's culture in these words. The bended back of my speech comes from years of carrying the black experience. The verbal diaspora of Africa shakes my spine. We cross our T's with the middle passage, dot our I's with strange fruits, curve our S's with mid-Atlantic roots. You cannot expect us to be slaves to your phonetics forever. And just like our history, we will defy the structure of your Jim Crow grammar. Refuse to speak within the lines of your Mason-Dixon diction. You cannot correct this. Context this, connotate my accomplishments, see me be black, male, use double negative to make positive. He will write until the black story no longer subsists. He will write until a clenched fin is synonymous with a clenched fist. He will write until the black male is able to live, be, exist. Class dismissed.
Ten responses to the phrase, man up. 1, you. 2, if you want to question my masculinity, like a schoolyard circle of curses, like a sword fight with lightsaber erections, save your breath, because contrary to what you may believe, not every problem can be solved by growing a pair. You cannot arm wrestle your way out of chemical depression. The CEO of the company that just laid you off does not care how much you bench, and I promise there is no light beer in the universe full-bodied enough to make you love yourself. 3, oh, man up. Yeah, that's that new superhero, right? Mild-mannered supplement salesman Mark Manstrong says the magic words man up and then transforms into the 5 o'clock shadow. The massively muscled, deep-voiced leather duster wearing Superman who defends the world from, I don't know, feelings. 4, of course, why fight to remove our chains when we can simply compare their lengths? Why step outside the box when the box has these badass flame decals on it? We men are cigarettes, dangerous and poisonous and stupid. 5. You ever notice how nobody ever says woman up? They just imply it. Because women and the women's movement figured out a long time ago that being directly, explicitly ordered around by commercials, magazines, and music is dehumanizing. When will men figure that out? 6. The phrase man up suggests that competence and perseverance are uniquely masculine traits. That women, not to mention any man who doesn't eat steak, drive a big truck, and have lots of sex with women, are nothing more than background characters, comic relief, props. More than anything, though, it suggests that to be yourself, whether you wear skinny jeans, or rock a little eyeliner, or drink some other brand of light beer, or write poetry, will cost you. 7. So how many boys have to kill themselves before this country acknowledges the problem? How many women have to be assaulted? How many trans people have to be murdered? We teach boys how to wear the skin of a man, but we also teach them how to raise that skin like a flag and draw blood for it. 8. Boy babies get blue socks. Girl babies get pink socks. What about purple? What about orange? What about green? What about cerulean, black, tie-dyed, buffalo plaid, rainbow? 9. I want to be free to express myself. Man up. I want to have meaningful emotional relationships with my brothers. Man up. I want to be weak sometimes. Man up. I want to be strong in a way that isn't about physical power or dominance. Man up. I want to talk to my son about something other than sports. Man up. I want to be who I am. Man up. 10. No.
To be a Mexican man in Texas is to be confused for construction, for clear glass windows, a custodial caregiver to those who don't care. You can take out my trash, just not my tax dollars. I like your food, just not you. To be a Mexican man in Texas is to have your skin swallow the sun, to sweat. It is to sway, to sway. It is to invite the light, and to invite the light is to be thankful for all the sun has done. For the last few years, more people in America have eaten more tortillas than they have bread. So I suppose the best thing since a sliced bread is a tortilla instead. If only America were my skin. Especially for the food that Texas uses to be Mexican. See, Tex-Mex isn't really Mexican food. Taco Bell isn't really food. It is a version of Mexico we can all get used to. Yeah, you love guacamole and queso and margaritas. Yeah, you love a culture you can't consume. There's no longer room in your stomachs. But just months ago, 43 Mexican students disappear. Where do 43 bodies go? Do you still have room in your stomachs? To be a Mexican man in Texas is to have a whole plate of lonely to yourself. My reflection is a box of leftovers, who I'm supposed to be, who I am. I'm a Mexican man, and I come from Mexican men whose hands, they kiss bricks into buildings, whose hands kiss their wives like their wives kiss dough. 2 generations back, Spanish was all my family spoke. 1 generation back, English broke through the mouth of my mother, became the only mouth my tongue would ever know. So when asked if I speak Spanish, it's mostly by white people, and I'm still kind of astonished at the question, as if I had to audition for my own skin, as if I needed to speak for my blood to sing. See, English may have been the first seed to flower, but Spanish is still the soil. Language is like love. It's a lesson you never stop learning from. So for those of you who say, I'm more Mexican than you, I wish I could believe you. I wish identity was such an easy trajectory, so I could pick up, follow, and then lay at your feet. When I was 13 years old, 2 cops thought I was a crime in progress, put their hands on me hot like an iron, trying to remove all my wrinkles. I can still feel my insides crease that they hate. Do you still want to be Mexican like me, or do you just want the food? I don't mean to to be rude, but you can't pronounce the food you are ordering. You love your houses and your highways and your tortillas, but what about the hands that make them? Don't you get it? My blood, it is a song. Mariachis remind me of my grandfathers. They both built a house and a family without ever going to college. My grandpa Caballero, he picked guitar strings. My grandpa Perales, he picked cotton. They both picked my grandmother's wedding ring. They are Mexican men. I'm a Mexican man, and yes, I eat more tortillas than bread.
I had a therapist tell me once, it was ironic how much love I gave out, because I didn't give much to myself. She laughed, like self-love was a sick joke. I chuckled, then cried at home. I had someone tell me once I could not love anyone else until I learned to love myself. This time I got to laugh. This time the sick joke was mine. It was me. Might as well wait forever. I remember hating myself at the age of 7. Journals filled to the brim with criticisms by 8. I had enough pages to stitch them into wings, to fly close enough to the sun to see my tears turn to steam, felt the wax burn on my shoulders and mold into thick skin. I was 9 when I wanted to die. 13 when I found a solution, figured if I could cut my legs enough, gravity would let me go. When it didn't, I tied a pillowcase around my neck, twisting like the rope swings I knew so well from childhood, heard my heartbeat pound in my ears like a warning drum, then fade. I'd almost convinced myself I'd done it. When I started writing, I smeared my blood on every page to remind myself that everything beautiful has a consequence. I'd hoped to stall the clotting long enough to give myself to the craft and let myself go. I have died so many times. So when I told you that loving you almost makes life worth it, I was not joking. When I tell you that loving you almost makes me forget how much I hate myself, it is not poetry. Loving you is taking all the love I could never give myself and putting it to good use. It is reminding myself that if someone can love a dying thing this way, can hold the Lazarus of my body and give thanks for the way it holds back, if someone can kiss the scars, administer the pills, absorb the bad days, and wake up smiling next to me, then I can try to breathe again. Because self-love does not always come first, or second, or even ever. But your love be the guardrail on the ledge, be the drawers that hide all the sharp things, be the body that carries my collapsed frame into bed, be the flowers you bought. Because even though they are dying too, they still dance. Love will not heal me, will not wipe my slate of a body clean. I will always be a woman of wounds, of rope-marked neck and melted skin. Love will not heal me, but it will hold my hand if I ever heal myself, and maybe teach me a joke that I can stay alive long enough to laugh at. I love you enough to want to love myself too.
How to train your dog in post-racial America for dummies. First, it is important for you to accept it will occasionally misbehave. You should know the secret to an obedient canine is to control its food supply, control how and when affection is shown, give it a job, give it a yard, let it walk its yard, let it protect its yard, let it think it owns its yard. Make it hate the sight of dogs. Blame everything bad on its nature and everything good on your training, and if it ever steps too far out of line to keep in its own yard, remember, it is just a dog. It will only ever be a dog. Buy a black dog. Tell it we have a black president now, so what happens to it is not about race. Tell it you have seen so much black on black violence you didn't think it would notice. Remark to your neighbors how these dogs call each other dogs. We doing them a favor. These strays are too aggressive. Red zone dogs need to be put down for public safety. Tell it this is not about race. It's about public safety. It's about bad grades, smoking marijuana, listening to that thug music too loud, standing on that street corner too long, waving that cell phone too high, wearing those pants too low, knocking on that door too colored. Tell it this is about rebellion, which is fighting back. It's about fighting back. There is, after all, some reason that melanin seeks after bullets the way it does. Some reason shotgun shells fall for black dogs in streets. Gives them what they asked for, rends their flesh like embedded collars, like leashes, like chains, like whips. Tell it you didn't see its hands up. Tell it you thought you saw a gun. Tell it whether its future was bright or not is inconsequential. It has never been about what it will be. It's about what it is and will always be when buying a black female dog. Tell it it is only good for being in heat, then appropriate its children. Teach it that being over-sexualized and underpaid is its rite of passage. It better not bark too loud from a dark Chicago street corner. Better not pull no flags down. It better not change lanes without a signal. It better go outside when it is told to. Better drop it like it's hot. Better twerk something. See, we prefer a good dog, but we will tolerate a bad. When it jumps on the bed after a storm and muddies perfectly good sheets, tell it it is a bad dog. Remind your wife of why it never should have been allowed in the house in the first place. How you will nonetheless graciously permit table scraps if it licks the hand that beats it. Tell it, play outside, it will be safe, Tamir Rice. Tell it, play inside, it will be safe, John Crawford. Tell it, play in the pound, in the hashtag, in the pound, in the hashtag. Tell it, play, it will be safe. Because you are a good master. Tell it your yard is its home now. Show it the receipt. Tell it stay. Tell it speak. Tell it roll over. Tell it play dead. Bang. Play dead. Bang. Stay. Stay. That is a good dog.
For Ari Handel, co-screenwriter for the movie Noah, there's a part of me that really longed to see your movie. The part that grew up on cartoon children's Bibles where the ark was a big boat trundling along on calm seas. But this movie of yours, there's fighting and torrents and elephants trumpeting. And standing firm front and center, Russell Crowe. Wait, were there Australians in ancient Turkey? Mr. Handel, when someone raised their hand in the back of the press conference and said, hey, this movie's set in the Middle East, right? So all white actors, that's what you're going with? I'd like you to clarify your response. The race of the individuals doesn't matter. They're supposed to be stand-ins for all people. So what you're saying, and this is just between us white folks, people of color, y'all have already known this for a long time, so what you're saying is, we white people get to see ourselves on every screen, no mental hurdles or feats of imagination, and everyone else has to squint real hard and pretend they see color. Isn't that just easier? To get to skip all the identity gymnastics. I mean, how did you put it? Inclusive casting choices just draw attention to it, as though an Arab Noah is just too distracting. To whom? To someone from the Middle East? Nah, to your small-town picket fence white audience. Like me. The people who grow up learning this is the norm and everything else a variation, who learn all the best blockbusters come whitewashed and everything else is a race movie. For a long time, you don't even notice. How every book you read is full of white faces, how your dating history is a cemetery of white roses on white headstones, how you met God in the shining white face of children's Bible Jesus. I wonder, Ari, if you grew up like I did. Did it take you 20 years to realize white is actually a race too? Did you think racism was a problem you could leave on someone else's doorstep and ring the doorbell real quick before you scurry off? Did you look a patient friend in the face and say, Jesus wasn't black, quit making everything a race thing? Newsflash for us, Ari, everything's a race thing. There is no race-free casting. There's no bubble we can go hide in and pretend it's not there. Noah had one. You have one. Jesus had one. Was Jesus brown? Of course. Have you looked at a map? Why do we fight this so hard? Is it hard to see Jesus in the face of a black man? Sometimes, when the red on my neck burns a little too hot. Ari, the girl I was in small-town New Mexico, would have loved your movie. That's why I didn't take her to go see it. That's why I left her tangled in a mesquite tree, and every morning she tries to crucify herself, thinks iron nails are more tragic in white palms, the black and the white and the red. Isn't that so much more poetic? If Mary cradled her newborn baby in dark arms, would we still believe that whole virgin bit? If Naaman washed himself in the Jordan and the leprosy ran in rivulets from his brown skin, would we still call him clean? Ari, if you gave the world an Iraqi Noah, would we still call him an everyman? I don't need another white savior. I have a hard enough time remembering that the original was never white in the first place.
I feel like I am being watched. every step I take.
They are judging my choices. They are breathing at my neck.
They are scrutinizing my every move.
The paranoia escalates.
And I don't understand why I feel like I am being watched until I remember that at any given time, there are at least 5 cats in my household. Romeo Lovebug Bandit. That's her full name, not 3 different cats.
Buffy the Rat Slayer, aka the Chosen One.
La Bella Luna Tuna.
Gandalf the Grey.
Lady and Juliet Capulet. You have cat to be kitten me right now. Don't underestimate their significance.
Isaac Newton invented the cat door.
That's Sir Isaac Newton, who also did the gravity stuff.
See, the comfort and ease of kittens is up there with the 3 laws of motion that govern the universe.
These felines have explored space, the White House, and can see in the dark. They can turn their ears 180 degrees.
If you own one, you are less likely to die of cardiovascular disease.
You know why my heart is so strong? Because I love my cats so much. And if you don't, guess who felt the same? Hitler. Literally Hitler.
And guess who beat him in world domination?
Cats. There are cats on every continent.
Even Antarctica.
Here's a statistic, or rather, cat-statistic.
There are 86.4 million cats in the United States alone,
and all of them are mine. And they have little squishy paws.
And they're great filmmakers.
If it weren't for cats, YouTube wouldn't exist.
They evolved specifically to be domesticated by humans.
They were like, hey, I will become small and cute, so they will adopt me, and I can have free food all the time. Brilliant.
Their adorableness does not just come naturally, it's a survival mechanism. Cats formulated their meows to simulate a human baby crying
so that we have a psychological need to give them attention. You know what else they are? Soft,
cute,
fat. If cats could write poetry, they would sound like meow, 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 meow.